Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about marketing strategies that K-pop companies used which seem to sabotage their own artists. So, as we all know, if you participate in any K-pop fandom spaces, you've probably seen a lot of contention for K-pop companies, with the idea that companies who manage K-pop soloists and groups don't know how to properly promote their artists, dominating the discussions in just about every single fandom. And while I do agree with the idea that 99% of K-pop companies don't promote their artists as well as they could, to me, some cases of artists being mismanaged are notoriously bad. And when I say mismanaged, I don't mean mistreated or like taken advantage of or anything like that. I'm more so referring to the concept of K-pop companies who are supposed to do their best to make their artists famous seem to put in about 0% of the effort that it takes to achieve that. I think a lot of K-pop fandoms get mad at the companies of their favorite artists for doing the bare minimum, and rightfully so. They should go above and beyond. However, in the cases that I'm going to be talking about today, I feel like they didn't even do that, not even the bare minimum. And it's almost as if these companies were actively sabotaging their artists. If you think that this video is going to make you feel a little bit lost, don't be worried because I'm going to do a brief summary and explanation of every group that I'm going to be talking about today. And if you're watching this video and think of an example of mismanagement that you think belonged here, don't feel afraid to leave it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, sorry for keeping you all waiting, and without further ado, let's get into the first case. Jellyfish debuting Gugudan while I.O.I was still active. For those of you who don't know, Nayoung, Sejong, and Mina were participants on the first season of the Mnet survival show Produce 101, where 101 girls competed against each other to eventually be narrowed down to an 11-member group, which was decided by the votes of the people watching. Nayoung, Sejong, and Mina were all sent onto the show by their agency Jellyfish Entertainment, and while Nayoung was eventually eliminated, Sejong and Mina made it into the final group in 2nd and 9th place respectively, to become members of the first group made by the Produce series I.O.I. And for a little bit of context, the network that this survival show is aired on, Mnet, is arguably the biggest K-pop based network in Korea. And according to the Korean network ranking site AGB Nielsen, over 2 million people, which was over 4% of the population of Korea at the time, tuned into the finale. And from the 2 million people watching, Sejong and Mina were able to get 700,000 votes, which landed them both in the final lineup of I.O.I. Now you might be asking, where does Gugudan come into this? And how is their correlation to I.O.I bad for their careers? And my answer for this is that Sejong and Mina's company Jellyfish Entertainment debuting Gugudan while I.O.I was still active directly went against what the people who voted for Sejong and Mina wanted. To understand what I mean, it's important to know that the 11 girls who debuted in I.O.I came from different agencies who wanted to market them in different ways. Some of the girls' companies wanted them to milk out as much fame as they could from I.O.I, while others wanted their trainees who made it into the final group to focus on separate activities as soon as possible. And this latter mindset was the one that Jellyfish Entertainment took on, which eventually was detrimental for Sejong and Mina's careers, at least as K-pop idols. See, Sejong and Mina 100% had the support of the general public. I mean, they got 700,000 votes to be in I.O.I, but the thing is, the support that they had was support for them as I.O.I members. People voted for Sejong and Mina because they wanted to see them promote and interact with the other 9 girls that they voted in. And when Jellyfish Entertainment made Sejong and Mina take a break from their activities within I.O.I to debut in Gugudan, along with Nayoung and 6 other girls from Jellyfish Entertainment that the general public had never seen before, I think it raised a lot of unexpected resentment towards Gugudan as a group. Because what happened is that during the time when Gugudan debuted and promoted their first single on music shows and other venues, most of the other 9 girls in I.O.I continued to release music and have activities together, but without Sejong and Mina who were busy in Gugudan. I feel like fans of Sejong and Mina during Produce 101 sort of felt like Gugudan were stealing them away from I.O.I, and especially since people knew that I.O.I were only going to be around for a very short amount of time, only 9 months. It definitely raised the question of why couldn't Jellyfish Entertainment just wait until I.O.I.'s 9-month contract was over and then debut Gugudan while Sejong and Mina weren't a part of I.O.I anymore. So in short, Jellyfish Entertainment's decision to temporarily remove Sejong and Mina from I.O.I, which was already such a short-lived temporary group, was sort of setting up the group for failure, considering it left a bad taste in such a large amount of people, to the point where the disdain for Gugudan overwhelmed any of the hype they had, and contributed to their eventual disbandment a few years down the road, twice releasing Formula of Love not 2 months after the feels. Considering people have been wanting Twice to try their hand at breaking into the Western market for years now, JYP Entertainment moved on from promoting the group's first English single way too quickly. I know there wasn't much possibility for Twice to actually go to America to promote the feels, but I still feel like there's a lot they could have done besides just performing for a few talk shows. Obviously, I'm not fully aware of how the entertainment industry works, and I don't know of all the conversations that happen behind closed doors. But even without knowledge like that, considering Twice and JYP Entertainment are partnered with an American music label, I do still feel like they could have gotten a lot more appearances in the media. I don't understand why K-pop companies seem to think that morning and late night talk shows are the pinnacle of American media. I mean, you look at what American artists are doing, and they have their songs used as commercials. They make one-episode appearances on Netflix shows just to perform, and they do so many other things besides just releasing a song, performing it a few times, and making a couple TikToks. I mean, the Feels was quite literally going viral on TikTok, and they didn't even try to do anything with it. This is just an idea that I'm throwing out there, but with the rise of online concerts, and considering TikTok just added a new feature which allows artists to hold showcases on their app, why not hold an online concert on there? You know, there were so many different routes that JYP could have taken to promote TWICE in the West, but instead they decided to go with none of them. And even though the Feels had the fan support, had the virality, and had the musical quality, it's as if JYP wanted to move on from this era as soon as possible. Considering Western artists usually tend to promote 2 main singles throughout the year, and even K-pop groups wait a few months between comebacks, it seems pretty dumb that for a song that was supposed to be very monumental and record-breaking for TWICE, they decided to release a full album not even 2 months later. For something like a Big 3 group's first English single, you're gonna want to milk that for as long as possible, but instead JYP decided to throw it away and move on, which even divided the people who were just listening to the music. When Scientist and the rest of Formula of Love dropped, there was this sort of clash between people who weren't given enough time to move on from the Feels era and still wanted to be a part of it, and people who just wanted to go on to Scientist. I mean, even weeks after Scientist dropped, people were still just doing dance covers of the Feels, which made it so that both songs didn't really get the full attention of their intended audiences, and it made both of these comebacks sort of just fizzle away where they were both supposed to be smash hits. Top media never officially removing Kim Woo-sok and Lee Jun-hyuk from Uptension. Going back to the Produce series, Kim Woo-sok and Lee Jun-hyuk were 2 trainees from Top Media who were able to gain mainstream popularity through the 4th season of the show, and before the show aired in 2019, both of these trainees were in Top Media's boy group Uptension, which debuted in 2015. In the end, Kim Woo-sok was voted into the final lineup of X1, finishing in 2nd place, and despite getting voted in as 7th place, Lee Jun-hyuk was unfortunately rigged out of the final lineup. As most of us know, this rigging scandal eventually reached the public, and X1 unfortunately had to disband, which means that Kim Woo-sok and Lee Jun-hyuk went back to Top Media, presumably to resume their activities as Uptension. But now, it's been 2 years since X1 disbanded, and Kim Woo-sok and Lee Jun-hyuk have not had one activity with the group since. Despite still being listed as members of Uptension, both Kim Woo-sok and Lee Jun-hyuk have started their solo careers as idols and actors. I understand why Top Media did it, because both of them have much more potential for popularity as solo artists, but it's both cruel and pointless to keep them listed as Uptension members when there's obviously no plan for them to re-enter the group anytime soon. Despite not having much mainstream attention, Uptension still has a very dedicated and loyal fanbase, many of whom are still anticipating Woo-sok and Jun-hyuk to re-enter the group, but this very obviously isn't going to happen. So you have this sort of divide within the fandom, with one half trying to break it to the other that Jun-hyuk and Woo-sok aren't going to rejoin the group anytime soon, and the other half still hanging on to the fact that they're both technically still members, and calling the others fake fans for giving up on hope. And to me, it just seems a little bit unfair to keep egging on these fans who still want Woo-sok and Jun-hyuk back, and it would be much better to just officially announce that neither are returning to the group. Loona not having official positions. Again, something that could be fixed with just one official announcement that divides the fandom because it never happens. So Loona is a 12-membered girl group where instead of giving the members positions such as main rapper, main vocal, main dancer, they're all given a combination of the positions dancer, vocalist, and rapper, giving them this illusion of equality where you think all of the members will have an equal amount of lines and screen time distribution. But if you are at all familiar with Loona, you know that this is absolutely not the case. You have these members such as Heejin and Chu who are quite obviously the main rapper and main vocalist respectively, but they're given the same positions as Vivi and Gowon, who are given about 5 seconds of lines total combined in each song. And it's almost as if Blackberry Creative, which is Loona's company, wants their fans to argue over debates such as who should get more and who should get less lines. And it doesn't make sense that Loona don't have any official positions when you can quite obviously tell who is a sub-rapper, who is a sub-vocal, and who the main vocal and main rappers are. You know, if you're gonna brand your group as equal with no official positions, then you need to follow through with that. And if you're gonna treat one of your members like a sub-vocalist, then you should just give them that position so that people don't expect them to get more. Because then you get these arguments within the fandom with someone saying that this member is hogging all the lines, but then fans of that member say that they're the most talented within the group, and that their favorite member deserves more lines than the quote-unquote less talented members. And without getting into my personal opinions about the talents of the different members of Loona, it's very obvious which members of Loona that Blackberry Creative wants to push as the faces of the group, so they should just cave in and give these members who don't have their official positions the unofficial ones that everybody knows that they have, because it would stop a lot of the fighting within the fandom and create more harmony among orbits. And that concludes this video. Let me know what you thought of my commentary in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a thumbs up, and if you want to see more from me, consider hitting the subscribe button. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.